In 1929, the rich guys knew something bad was going to happen. The guy in the street didn't have a chance. Today, the rich guys still know something's going to happen, but guys on the street do have the advantage. They've got access to more information than we've ever had in history.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty in Finance, and this is the Miles Franklin Weekly Special for August 14th through August 21st, 2023, while supplies last. This week we feature Silver Buffalo rounds at just $2.50 over spot. The Silver Buffalo is made by various private mints across the U.S. with a design based on James Earl Fraser's iconic Buffalo nickel. They are highly recognizable and one of the most trusted types of bullion rounds available. These 3/9 fine rounds come 20 to a tube and 500 to a box. And at just $2.50 over spot, they offer unparalleled liquidity at a price lower than many high-volume bars. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Hey everyone, this is Elijah K. Johnson with Liberty in Finance. And back with us today is our good friend Bob Moriarty, Marine, naval aviator, and financial author. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, it's interesting times we live in.
Well, we have, I think, too much to talk about today. We have the Evergrande bankruptcy over in China. We have Michael Burry putting puts on the S&P. And so I'm definitely betting against the S&P 500 there. And we also have the BRICS meeting tomorrow. Let's start with the stock market, because I know last time we had you on, you said, the crash has started, or the second leg of the crash. So your perspective on where we are right now, and it seems like Michael Burry is who predicted the 2008 crash and bet on that, is agreeing with you.
Michael Burry was actually ahead of me. Michael Burry had to report what his hedge fund held at the end of June. So at the end of June, he had taken out $1.6 billion in puts on the S&P and the NASDAQ, and it was like 90% of the value of his fund. Now, since the market went up in July, he would have actually lost money in July, but since the 1st of August, certainly the market's gone down. But to be on the same side of a bet as Michael Burry, probably a pretty good idea.
Definitely. We actually do have a few viewers' questions here, and I thought maybe I'll ask this one right now. Are you shorting the market right now?
No, because I don't have the courage or the money of Michael Burry. To the extent that I don't need to. If the market crashes and if it takes resource stocks down with it, I'll be a buyer big time. I'm in some cash, but I almost never short the market.
And can you expand on, for our viewers, the reasons you see the stock market is going into its second leg downturn?
Well, why are you saying second leg?
First drop was definitely 2021. It seems like that's when the bubble began to burst, and now we're kind of in maybe the complacency stage.
Yeah, actually, that's very true. And if you compare this to 1929 to 1937, there were multiple crashes and multiple booming up markets. So to the extent you're actually very correct, the crash started in September of 2019. We had a major crash in 2020 and a tremendous opportunity. And that's what I want readers to understand. A correction is not a bad thing. It's a good thing. And if you saw silver at $12 an ounce and didn't do something, there was a tremendous opportunity. It went up 150% in 6 months. And of course, the Dow from 32 to 33 did exactly the same thing. In 11 months, it went up 150%. So A market crash is not a bad thing, but it's time to prepare and have some idea of what you're going to do. And if I wanted to get cute, I could short the market, but I don't care.
Now, when it comes to what we're seeing in the general economy right now, we're seeing the bankruptcy of China's second largest property developer, Evergrande. And also there's implications in the U.S. for that as well. Your perspective on that we saw last week?
The Chinese economy is a house of cards. The first biggest fund is going to go bankrupt shortly. Many months ago, 6 months ago, we were talking about the banks, the Federal Reserve raising interest rates. And if they kept raising interest rates, they would raise interest rates until something broke. And that's exactly what's happened. But the Chinese market in general is a total disaster. It's all fraud.
And how will that impact the U.S.? I mean, it is a Chinese company, but obviously the financial system is very interconnected.
You just defined it right there. To the extent that hedge funds, insurance companies, banks, all suffer from higher interest rates, and certainly with Fitch downgrading all those banks, Fitch is saying, okay, they're going to go under. And of course, they are going to go under. We've had 6 months of relative quiet, but that's going to change. And my belief is it's going to change in the next 2 months.
We do have a few viewers' questions on a very important meeting that I know we've been, that's much anticipated, the BRICS meeting, which starts tomorrow. I believe it goes on for about 3 days here. A lot of people are expecting the BRICS to announce plans for a gold-backed currency. I know Russia Today reported that is going to be discussed. Todd is wanting to know, will this week's BRICS meeting impact gold prices?
My opinion, and it's just my opinion, is no. The ramifications from the meeting will definitely affect gold. India is very much against going to a gold standard because India would like to continue to print money ad nauseum. So India is the stumbling block to a gold-backed currency. But I don't think the report of BRICS going to a gold-backed standard, I don't think that was accurate. I think they'll do it eventually, but I don't think we're going to see anything out of the meetings. What's key is the number of countries that want to join BRICS, because essentially what they're doing is voting against the dollar.
Sam is wanting to know about hyperinflation or mad deflation. Which do you think is more likely?
Both. And here's why. We're going to have deflation of the things that have gone up the most by the Fed pumping money into the system. The rate of money increase is just absolutely mind-boggling. So real estate, stock market, and a lot of other things that exploded higher in price, I think you're going to see deflation. But eventually, when the Fed has blown the economy up, and the Chinese land funds is a perfect example, they're going to reverse course. They're going to go back to QE, and that's when we get hyperinflation. So we're going to have deflation and hyperinflation.
Now, when it comes to, I guess, prepping for what you see going forward, this viewer is wanting to know, how do you see the next global food shortage taking place, and should we stock food now?
Well, really, the question answers itself. There's all kinds of indication that the supply chains are broken, and there's many anecdotal indications that someone is attacking food companies. And it's that simple. It's mathematics. If you're going to eat $1,000 worth of food, over the next year, does it make any difference whether it's in your pantry now or whether it's in your pantry a little bit of time over the next year? And the answer, no, it's the same thing. You're going to eat the same amount of food. I personally stock food up because I believe there is an attack on the economy and there's an attack on food. And facts, and I love to eat.
When it comes also to precious metals, I know that's kind of, as you mentioned in the past, that it's a insurance policy against financial chaos. We have a few viewers' questions on precious metals. This viewer wants to know about the ratio of silver to gold, and when you think the ratio, what ratio would you swap silver back to gold?
That's a really good question, and luckily, I have access to some really sharp people in the industry. As far as predicting the action of the gold-silver spread, the guy that is the most accurate is Bob Hoy. And prior to 2020, he said that silver-gold ratio could go up to 115 to 1, and it would have been 70 or 80 at the time. And when he said it, I thought, I really like Bob, but he obviously has lost it. Well, the silver-gold ratio actually went to about 132 to 1 for a very short period of time in March of 2020. And I was buying silver ETFs below $12 an ounce. And I looked at it and said, this is totally nuts. Okay, this is so cheap. He is saying, again, the silver-gold ratio could go to 120 to 1. He is not a big fan of silver stocks right now. He said the best time to buy resource stocks will be in October. I think my prediction of a crash in the September-October region is correct. It could be as early as September or as late as October. Now, I want to read something too that's kind of interesting. I'm presuming that you read the comments that people make on these interviews. Okay, do you know what the number one comment was of the last interview? Someone said, I respect Bob's opinion, but anytime someone says things are going to break in X weeks or months, it never happens. Don't hold your breath, which is by and large true. I mean, I have to agree with the statement. One of the people who commented on his comment said, been following him for years, he's always been right. And if you look at the people who are wealthy today, they're wealthy because of their ability to predict the future. I have no special talent, okay? There's lots of people that are smarter than me, but I write in my books how it's very easy to predict what the market's going to do if you understand sentiment. And I use sentiment. Sentiment's telling me we're about to have a market crash, and markets like to crash in October. But I saw clearly around the 1st of August, lots of sentiment indicators that said the market had topped. And when Michael Burry comes out and makes a $1.5 billion bet, that's interesting. But Ray Dalio, his fund has gone very negative right at the top. Elon Musk just sold all of his Bitcoin. Warren Buffett sold $9 billion more in shares than he bought last quarter. In 1929, the rich guys knew something bad was going to happen. The guy in the street didn't have a chance. Today, the rich guys still know something's going to happen, but guys on the street do have the advantage. They've got access to more information than we've ever had in history. And I'll be blunt, I called the bottom in gold in 2001. I called the bottom in silver in 2001 within a week. I called the top in silver to the very day in 2011, and I've called a lot of turns, and it's something everybody can do if they learn what noise is and what signal is and what sentiment does. And I'll be candid, sentiment works. If I was 30 years old, I would trade commodities and nothing else, and I would use the daily sentiment indicator, and I would ignore all the noise. I'd ignore interest rates, I'd ignore wars, I'd ignore floods, I'd ignore hurricanes, because those things don't matter at all. What does matter is sentiment. Everybody buys things because of sentiment, and they sell things because of sentiment. So if you can measure sentiment accurately, you can make a lot of money. And Jeff Bernstein's daily sentiment indicator is easily the single best measured sentiment I've ever seen, even though there's 30 or 40 or 50 different measures of sentiment.
And I will note also that the last time you made a claim like this with respect to the stock market, the crash has started, was back, we posted the video December 20th, 2021. And, obviously 2022 was a bad year for the stock market. So just, more credit to you there, that you're not just throwing these claims out all the time, but you have been very accurate in the past there. I did want to ask one more viewer's question on precious metals. John wants to know about COMEX price discovery and the authority that the COMEX has to fix the price for precious metals and what that all means.
Well, the COMEX doesn't have the authority to fix prices. The COMEX is a commodities exchange, and for every contract, there's one buyer and one seller, and it's the buyers and the sellers who set price, okay? If you took the label off of COMEX and compared gold charts to corn or wheat or soybeans or live hogs, it would be exactly the same. The idea that COMEX it's some kind of fraud is fraud in and of itself. Now, television preachers, politicians, and a lot of newsletter writers get paid for telling people what they want to hear. So if you're subscribing to some guy and he's telling you everything you want to hear, you're probably going to lose money, okay? But you're not going to care, because he's telling you what you want to hear. Now, I'll ask you a simple question. Everybody hates me doing this. Would it be possible for an honest politician to be elected in the United States?
I mean, I hope so, but the likelihood would probably be low.
Zero. We don't want honest politicians. We want politicians who are going to lie to us, and literally, the most popular people are the guys who are the best liars, okay? But one of the things you can and should do is go back and look and say, what have these people said who's actually made money? Now, let's say manipulation is true. Let's say the price of gold is manipulated every single day. How does that tell you when to either buy or to sell? And you have to do, obviously, both of them to make a profit. But what is the signal in a belief that markets are manipulated? I'll give you the most manipulated market of all time is Bitcoin and the 1,000 other variations of Bitcoin. That is so corrupt, and there's so much stealing going on, and there's so much fraud going on, and nobody cares. Okay? Because everybody says, I can buy the next Bitcoin at 50 cents and it's going to go to $70,000. That ain't going to happen. And the mere fact that there's 10,000 variations means that they're all fraud. Okay? But people don't want to hear that. People want to believe in gurus because they want somebody to blame when they lose money. And that's absolute rubbish. It's easy to make money in investing, but you've got to go against the herd, and you've got to follow sentiment, and you've got to ignore the experts and the gurus.
Now, one objection I've heard kind of on principle to the COMEX, not claiming that it's doing any fraud or anything, but just kind of on principle that gold should not be traded as a commodity. It should be money, and it should be the basis for which all the other commodities are priced.
That comes from the people who think gold is religion. The only advantage that gold has over salt or big round rocks or pieces of paper or plastic or cows is that it's fungible. Okay, it can be divided and there's a limited supply of it. Gold is good money. It makes the best money. But for right now, it is not money. It is a commodity. And if somebody manipulates gold lower and the price is better than it was a week ago, that should be looked on as a good thing. If you walked into your Mercedes dealer and you saw a brand new Mercedes and it was $80,000 last week and the dealer had to get rid of them and they were $60,000 this week, would that be a good deal or would that be a bad deal? Well, I think that would be a good deal, okay? But everybody looks at gold's down $100. Oh my, they're manipulating gold. Well, if you like gold, you like gold at a lower price. But gold and silver are not religions, and you don't need to listen to the people who want to make it some kind of cult. Gold is good money. I believe that we will go back to a gold standard. Nobody's going to want to do it. We're going to do it because we have to. That's what Napoleon did in 1796, and it cured all of the excesses of the French Revolution in a few years. We're going to do it not because anybody wants to, not because it's a religion, but gold has always been the best form of money.
All right. Well, I think we'll have to end with this viewer's question here. Chad wants to know, have your dog Fax and the chickens you have learned to live at peace with each other?
Yes and no. Fax looks at the chicks. I have 4 chicks. I raised them from eggs. I got them in a little chicken coop. And Fax goes over at them and looks at them with longing. And he and I both know he would really love to have some KFC for lunch. And when I catch him thinking thoughts like that, I tell him no. And he understands what happens when he indulges. But the good news is that we've got a neighbor who brought in 3 or 4 rabbits. And if you bring in 3 or 4 rabbits and you let them run around, very soon you will have dozens of rabbits. So I took Fax out for a walk, and he spied this rabbit, and he thought, I'm going to give up chickens, boy. That looks a lot tastier. And of course, he and I had to have the same conversation. No, we don't eat chickens, and we don't eat rabbits. Now, did I show you his wine?
His wine?
Yeah. Tell me if you could see it.
Yeah, I can see it. Chateau Fax. Fantastic.
Now, I'll tell you what the story is behind that. We had a small farm here that was perfect for raising grapes. And after Barbara died, I said, I've got to do something with this land that's productive. It's criminal not to, because the land is so good. So I put in grapes, and I put in Pinot grapes because I like to drink Pinot. And even though it's the wrong grape for this area, I had an excellent first crop last year. And I went to a local person who has a vineyard, and said, could he process the grapes? And he said, yes. So we picked the grapes. Fact, can't actually pick the grapes. Okay. He's a dog. Okay. So the doggy paws are just not suitable for picking grapes. However, we put all the grapes in a bathtub and started stomping on them. And Fact thought that was fun. And he was a lot more efficient than we were because we got 2 legs and he's got 4. So he did leave little purple paw tracks all over the carpet, but that's Fact's wine. A little bit of Facts in every bit of the wine.
Fantastic. Well, I wish I could try some, but we're definitely across the pond there. But Bob, we really appreciate your time today. Before we let you go, let our viewers know where they can find you. We'll put all the links in the description of this video, but tell us a bit about your work.
Okay, I've written about 10 books, and there's a very wide range of books from aviation to military to finance. So literally, somebody can go to Amazon and find something interesting. I will say that what we're going through right now is very predictable. And 3 weeks ago, we had a conversation. I said, okay, this is what I think is going to happen. Now, so far, it appears that I'm correct. And some very heavy hitters have stepped up to the plate, and they're saying the same thing I am. So there are bad times right around the corner. But you can get the finance books for 99 cents, and if you can't afford that, you probably can't afford to be investing in the first place. But they're good books, and they will give you ideas on how you can protect yourself.
Fantastic. We'll really appreciate that and all your insights that you share with us always, Bob. Appreciate your time, and God bless.
Anytime. It's always a pleasure. And I hate what we're going through, but the world has gone through it 100 times before, and it somehow manages to survive.
Miles Franklin Precious Metals is one of America's oldest and most trusted bullion dealers. Miles Franklin is A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, licensed and bonded, and has 0 complaints ever registered. Here at Liberty and Finance, we are licensed brokers with Miles Franklin. To order, simply call us. Discuss your needs, and we can let you know our live inventory, prices, and availability, and lock in your order over the phone. Once your order is locked, the price is held for you regardless of market fluctuations, and the metals are reserved for you awaiting your settled payment. Within 1 business day of ordering, you will receive an email invoice detailing the order and payment instructions. Miles Franklin accepts payments by bank wire, ACH, or electronic check, money order, check mailed priority mail, and cryptocurrency. The fastest forms of payment are bank wire and cryptocurrency. Upon settled payment, metals will ship out within 3 to 5 business days. You will receive tracking information via email. Domestic shipping charges are $15 for any order under 500 ounces of silver or 10 ounces of gold. For orders larger than that, domestic shipping is free. The package will be boxed, fully insured, and labeled discreetly, with no indication of the contents inside. For your privacy, the name Miles Franklin will not even be on the package. To talk to myself, Kaiser, my brother Elijah, or my father Dunnigan, call 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237.